bet it's a bullet gonna get the last laugh.
You play a lot of characters, but what like is your main character, your favorite character?
He's not in the game.
Uh
It's Miguel. I need my main back, but for right now, I've settled with Leo as my main character.
Oh, wow. How did that happen?
I'd always have Leo as like a fun little pocket character, but I never take Leo seriously. And it wasn't until, Tekken 8 where I was like, dang, this is like the only real character I really know like that besides Miguel. Let me go ahead and give that a try. And then from there, once I saw that +9, I was like, we might have something here, buddy.
What was that? That was in season 2?
Nah, that was in season 1. As soon as the game dropped, +9 into K, and a lot of people were complaining about now in season 2 we can heat smash out of that. So I'm +9 into a 16 frame heat smash, which you can step, but every day I kind of regret my choice. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm like, man, everyone else seems to be having so much more. All I really have is that +9, and it's like people complain about Leo. They talk about all the stance transitions, but it's like if you actually lab the character, you can launch me damn near off the main stance transition that I go for if I want to go for a low, and then if you just hold back most of the time my K and K won't do that much because I want to go for a counter hit too. I usually don't put characters in tiers because
Okay.
I think every character is viable. So it's like I've never gotten into that. If I didn't know Leo, looking from the outside in, I think Leo's S tier, right? But then me knowing the character, I'm like, oh, Leo's good, but it's not that good. I know. See people in the chat saying classic downplay. I promise you, I'm not downplaying. I promise you. Like I've played a lot of Leos, and it's usually the same thing. One of the first things I show people who ask me to lab Leo, I show them how to stop some of the main stance transitions. Like, oh, I could have launched that the whole time.
Would you classify the character as like weak, needing buffs?
Now with season 2, with all the plus frames, I think the character is actually fine where it is. Like the thing in season 1 was like the main way to get plus with Leo was a down 2, which only left me plus 4, and it was a down forward 2+3 that left me +5, and that's really all I got outside of my stance. Versus, you play all these other characters like John, like you could get all these plus frame moves for free, and I'm like, oh, I ain't got that many. And then I was on a whole tirade about Leo's neutral requires you to like be higher than average with your neutral game than a lot of other characters. And once I got those players, I'm like, okay, this balanced it out a little bit. I don't have to play neutral all the time to get in. Now I have some mix up with these plus frames to take some of that load off.
What would you consider like her main weakness?
Super linear, super linear. And if I want to stop you, my main all my tracking moves give up my turn. My main tracking move, down forward 3, leaves me at -9. So it's definitely no longer my turn. I do have certain moves to like cover certain sides, but even then, I have to take a risk there. My down forward 2, my launcher is -13 on block. It does cover my right side, but if they sidestep block, now I'm cooked, especially against the Heihachi who can wall splat me off a 10 frame punish. Overall, though, her being linear is the main thing.
What does her install do? She has an install, right?
Yeah, she has an install. The install doesn't do as much as a lot of other characters.
Yeah, because I was
That's
thinking like, what does that even do?
if there's one thing I actually change, it'd be the install. That's it. It doesn't do as much as it should. So like a lot of people's installs, they give them like plus frames. They make something safe. Her install, you have 3 options. So she has that main hell sweep that's like a 2-piece. The install just gives it a third move that's unsafe on block. She has another 2-piece, back 3-1, which you can either go into one stance or another stance from it. But all the install does is give it a third move, which is also unsafe on block. And then the third thing is that there's a third 2-piece. It's always a 2-piece, right? It's another 2-piece where forward 2-4. I can go into a dash after it. With the install, it just gives me a third hit. And that third hit leaves me plus, but only like +4 unless I go in a stance, then I'm like +6. But then I have to make a decision from there. I think like the last thing it does is you get her old low heat smash. Now They just use the install for that.
Because there's a side discussion about installs about how certain characters don't have them and the characters who do have them have an advantage. Do you agree with that? And if you do or don't, do you support the idea of every character getting an install or no characters having an install?
Characters with installs do have an advantage, especially if stuff that's safe becomes plus or stuff that was unsafe becomes safe. Some characters, like Kazooie, you got what you got. You don't get something to save you. Do I think every character should have one or every character shouldn't have one? No. I think having that mix is fine just because I feel satisfaction when I'm fighting someone that has an install and I don't and I still win. If it's fifth round Hihachi with Warrior Instinct, and I still toss you, oh, I'm feeling good about that. One thing you'll notice is that I never put the onus on the character. I just always shift it back to me. What can I do better? What can I do to make it so if I do lose, what can I do to not make that happen again? Now, here's a question for you. Do
Mhm.
you think coaching is helpful at all levels or just at the top level?
Different types of coaching is helpful at top levels. Like I think when you're playing with a buddy and you guys are like practicing together, I don't know if that's classifies as coaching, but I think that's more effective. Like the Pakistani arcades that they have and how they all have that friendship and brotherhood. Like I think that's type of coaching very good. But walking on stage, combo breaker, top 64 coaching, I don't think that's too effective. But generally, like with coaching, um, players, I think any type of advice is great. Like if someone pops into the stream and they're like, "Hey, how do I?" There was some Devil Jin player who was like trying to figure out some Devil Jin cancel or something, and we eventually got him the answer. He was so happy, and he was so just that happiness and that motivation is more than enough for it to be worth it. Whether or not they actually improve as a player, just that satisfaction of like, now I can do this or now I understand that, I think makes it worth it. But then also, if they do grow, then yeah, it's so worth.
Now, when it comes to rank, you said you don't really think, rank holds any merit at this point, right?
Yeah.
What makes you feel that way?
Well, it's a little bit more valuable now in season two. Like once again going back to that stat video that I did, the ranks is looking a little bit better, but I just feel like when the developers are trying to elevate, because right now blue ranks is the most populated rank in the game. And past Tekkens that was red rank, and I just feel like that's kind of undermining what it took in past games to get to blue ranks, because Tekken 7 I ended that game emperor rank and blue ranks was brutal. So now
It
when I
was.
see like a lot of new players get just put in the blue ranks, it's just like, what is that? I get it though why they do it, and I'm not trying to gatekeep those players, but it's just like, as someone who literally just got done grinded through blue ranks and then ending in emperor, to see everyone do it immediately, year one of Tekken 8, like anyone would feel a type of saltiness, with that.
Nah, you're right. You're right. Because it's like my first Tekken, I played. It was Tekken 6. That was my first real Tekken,
Yeah.
and by the end of that life cycle, I ended at Fujin. Like, like I could not get past Fujin. That was it. After like 6 7 years. Versus today, I have people I coach. They'll get Fujin week 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder, is it the coaching or is it, the mechanics of the game making it easier sometimes?
Yeah.
But, I got to remember that, it's also easier than it was back in the day, information wise.
Yeah.
Because like back then, all you really had was Tekken Zaibatsu, the forum. Like you couldn't really go on YouTube and find an extensive library of information where you could learn the game as easily as you can now.
Yeah.
So keeping that in mind, I'm like, okay, if I had this back in the day, I probably could do what they do as well.